Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Well, happy 3/11 Day. 3/11 Day also coincides with the beginning of the legal tampering period in the NFL. And the biggest news, I think it's fair to say the biggest news so far, is Kirk Cousins is heading out of Minnesota and into the NFC South. He will be the new quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons. Greg Auman covers the NFC South for Fox Sports. He's on Twitter at Greg Auman, Auman, if you want to give him a follow. Busy day, but he's good enough to give us a couple of minutes. Greg, thanks for the time. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
It's always our pleasure, and we appreciate you for making time. Let me start with the Kirk Cousins news to Atlanta. Reaction?
Impressed they got him. Impressed how much he got. I think it's a good indication of how big a drop-off there was, kind of a shelf between Cousins and the rest of the free agent options. You know, once Mayfield got done in Tampa, once Russell Wilson lined up with Pittsburgh, you didn't really have a whole lot. I mean, it's probably Justin Fields, I guess, is your next option. You don't really know what you're giving up there. So there's just that real threat that if they didn't get Cousins, they have another off season where they're just unimpressive at quarterback. I think they probably could have traded up from 8 to try and get one of the rookies, but that also would have cost a lot. So probably overpaid a little bit, but this is a big get for them. I mean, this takes an offense. Falcons had exactly 17 touchdown passes in each of the last 2 seasons, won a game. Kirk Cousins, 25 touchdowns or more, I think his last 8 straight healthy seasons. You have to hope he's healthy. You have to hope he doesn't act his age at 36 years old. But basically the biggest thing they could go after at the position. So you give him credit for first swinging big.
Is Atlanta the best team in the NFC South now?
I think it's right there. It's a really close call right now. It's like I don't know how the Bucs will close out in terms of whether they can add anything or that kind of thing. I would think it's those two probably will be seen almost as co-favorites, if you will. Maybe a slight edge to Atlanta. New Orleans, I feel like so far everything they've done has been more attrition and subtraction. But, I mean, if they can make some moves and shore things up, they tied for the best record in the division, so they're not going to be far behind.
Yeah. We'll get to the Saints here in a smidge, but you spent a long time covering Tampa as well. What's the thought on giving the Baker the 3-year $100 million deal?
Yeah, again, it's a lot for somebody that you could get for $4 million a year ago. But to his credit, kind of took hold of things here. Not an easy situation last year, stepping in for Brady. Did enough to lead them to a division title. It's on paper, it's basically a 2-year, $60 million deal. I think he has 2 years to try and make the case for why they should keep him on a $40 million non-guaranteed salary in 26. So no, I mean, it's one of those where it comes in a little less than the Carr deal, certainly less than the Cousins deal, but a lot of money for somebody who, again, was on 3 teams in 2022. And, if he plays like he did this season, whatever it was, 28 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. If he gets that on a regular basis, that's good value for what they just paid him for. Quarterbacks don't really have a middle class financially in the NFL. It's kind of that top tier $40 million plus that Cousins just walked into. And then there's rookie contracts, and there's not a whole lot in between. So to get anything in that middle ground is almost a win for Tampa.
Greg Auman's with us here. Fox Sports covers the NFC South on Twitter at Greg Auman. They've already signed Mike Evans down in Tampa, Baker as well. What else is on the board potentially for the Bucs?
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what else they do. They really had to use a lot of their resources to keep Evans and Winfield and Mayfield. Those are the 3 big ones for them. They've got to decide on keeping Levante David at his age. Definitely could use some upgrades. Offensive line, interior offensive line, depth at running back, depth at tight end, a second starting safety. There's definitely holes to fill. They don't have nearly as many free agents. They got a good deal younger last year, so it's not quite the post-Brady purge that they had trying to shuffle and get younger a year ago. But no, I mean, they've got a tough schedule again. The rest of the division is actively getting better around them. So it'll be, I don't know that 9 wins gets the NFC South title this coming year. I mean, they have to find ways to make themselves better with a limited budget.
Same question for Atlanta. They've got the Kirk Cousins deal. What are they looking to do at 8? Where's that biggest need?
There's two positions, and if it's not one of those positions, I'll be shocked. The first one is edge. They need a pass rusher. I think they'll be able to get their pick of any edge in this draft at 8. Could be any defensive player in this draft at 8. But guys like Jared Verse, Dallas Turner from Alabama. The other opportunity would be at receiver, just because they have nothing there outside Drake London. And if you're going to put $40 million into Kirk Cousins, you want to give him people to throw to. He has Drake London, but obviously if you have only one receiver, it makes it easy for your opponents to figure that out. So I think, Cousins being there is great news for Drake London. It's good news for Kyle Pitts, for Bijan Robinson. They need a second receiver. So whether, if you're at 8 and you get lucky, that could be a Dunze, that could be, one of the LSU receivers. There's definitely depth at receiver in this draft where they can come back and use a second-round pick. If they take an edge at 8, they can come back and get a solid wide receiver 2, whatever their second pick is, 45, I think, or something like that. Those are the two positions that seem like the most glaring need to them.
Greg, if you were to rank, I think a year ago, if we had said, hey, all right, rank the quarterbacks in the NFC South, everyone would have started with Derek Carr, which is why I think most people favored the Saints in the division. Right. How would that shake out now?
That's tricky, in that you have probably, Carr finished the year really well. I think he had 12 touchdowns against 1 pick in his last 4 games. So it would have been, at Thanksgiving, it was pretty easily Mayfield over Carr over 10 stories of debris, and then Ritter and Young. But now it's definitely more conversation. If Cousins is healthy, I would think the default is for him. That's still a big if for a 35-year-old and an Achilles tendon. So I would think he's slightly above Mayfield, who's slightly above Carr, and then you have to think that Bryce Young is better, but he'll do really well just to get in the conversation with those 3 vets this year. They added Robert Hunt today, a big guard, $20 million a year guard. They'll certainly add some receivers to give him more to throw to, but he'll do well if he's not clearly the 4th quarterback in this division at the end of the season.
What I guess that is, you mentioned Robert Hunt, who's headed to Carolina. What else is, I guess, what else is possible for Carolina? How can they markedly improve year to year, or can they?
Yeah, offensive line has to start. I think that has to be. I think their tackles are kind of guys they're locked into, but interior line, this was a big step today. They probably could use another impact upgrade center or guard on the other side. Their running game has to be better. I think having Canales there will help Bryce Young. And then, his last 2 seasons have been almost reclamation projects, getting the most out of Geno and making him a Pro Bowler, doing the thing with Baker Mayfield in Tampa. I think he'll get him a confidence and a comfort level he never really had as a rookie. I don't know how big a step that forward that is. If that's 25 touchdowns against 10 picks, you'd call that a win, I think, and a step forward. But it's hard to see right now. Hard to see Carolina taking a leap to more than 6 wins, 7 wins. You'd say that's a big step forward for a first-year coach, first-year coordinator. There's a lot of room for growth. As a last-place schedule, they didn't really get any favors. They've got the Bears. They've got the Bengals as last-place opponents. So it's not even like they got hooked up with a couple of 3-win teams they can pencil in for wins.
He is Greg Auman, Fox Sports, been covering the NFC South for a long time. He's on Twitter at Greg Auman, AUMAN. Go give him a follow, especially right now with the legal tampering period, free agency, the draft's right around the bend as well. Does a great job. Greg, we appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for making a couple of minutes for us.
Oh, no problem. You guys take care. Have a good one.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.